All right, everyone, remember that 3 days ago Joe Biden had to come out and say, look, people, I'm not crazy. Don't worry so much about it. Like, it's a good sign when someone who's in their mid-70s has to try to reassure everyone around them that they're not going crazy. Isn't that like part of the plot of every movie about someone who's old and insane and just doesn't realize it? But Joe Biden definitely fits the bill for that, but now apparently on multiple occasions he's done this. He was in New Hampshire, and he's told a stirring story about how some soldier's friend had died in combat. You know, Biden arrived under heavy fire or some shit in order to give him some commendation medal. The dude, like, broke down, didn't want it, but it was very somber, and Biden's like, it's essentially meant to show presidential character. Like, oh, I recognize my deep respect for this young man who fought for his country and his friend died, and he's just the all-American, everyman soldier sort of thing. Unfortunately, it looks like the WAPO, ironically, breaking this, which is funny because you'd think they love neoliberalism. I guess they've already decided to back Warren at this point. They've given up Biden as a lost cause. Apparently, he's muddling 3 different stories together and then further embellishing them so that this event actually never happened. The basic story he's telling is that against the advice of those around him, he decided to go into a war zone specifically because of the outstanding nature of the conduct involved. That never happened. This is sort of like when Hillary Clinton claimed she landed in Bosnia under sniper fire, and we actually have video of her landing in Bosnia, and she's just sort of standing out there in the open, shaking hands, poses for a few photos, and wanders into an airport. No snipers, no problems. If there were any snipers, they were a ways away, and they certainly weren't shooting in that direction, probably because they didn't want to get nuked. So you have this long-standing tradition of politicians embellishing stories or making them up, but until relatively recently, it was really hard to fact-check, because what you would have to have is that politician would have to have enemies in the media that would conduct real journalism. Now you've got citizen journalism, and you've got everything archived online for the last 15 fucking years. It makes it easier. And then before you would have to have that happen, and then it would have to be broadcast. Like, they'd have to get actual proof documented and then put out there. But now everywhere a politician goes, someone whips out a smartphone anyway. So pretty like every speech a politician gives, good or bad, is now remembered. It isn't like in the past, if a politician did something that wasn't particularly great or particularly shitty, it would just, get analyzed maybe, but there's no recording of it. We're talking about the last 100 years when we're talking about audio recordings of speeches, at major stops. We're talking about the last half century as far as video coverage of things. We're talking about the last 20 years when it comes to fully digitized everything, like on the internet and so forth. Joe Biden can't escape from the fact that he's an old man with onset, he's got early stage Alzheimer's. It's now abundantly clear from the number of so-called gaffes he's making. It is not normal in any way for a person even of that age unless they have some other problem going on. His brain surgeon swears up and down it's not aneurysm related. He's had, several aneurysms he's been operated on for. If that is indeed the case, I would think the only other explanation would be a degenerative problem. Alzheimer's, namely. It's unacceptable to have a president of the United States going into office with Alzheimer's. There were enough concerns about second-term Ronald Reagan towards the last couple years of Reagan's presidency. The Gipper wasn't quite the same as he had been, certainly in his first term, but even in the first half of his second term. He was a little bit more muddled, more tired, a few less of the funny, snappy jokes. And indeed, of course, not that many years later, he makes his last public appearance, can barely remember apparently where he is. He's obviously at that point got at least somewhat advanced Alzheimer's. There's a really sad story, and I'm not a Reagan fan, but I guess this is kind of a sad story. Dementia touches home, where his Secret Service detail would take like bags of leaves and throw them into the pool so that he could clean them all afternoon because he enjoyed that activity. He enjoyed cleaning the pool, so they supplied him with more leaves because he'd go out there and clean it. He'd get upset that there were no leaves in it next time he'd come by, so they just, behind his back, they just throw more in or something. Oh, Mr. President, what a nice clean pool. I hope someone does that for me if I get old and demented. Just set me up with something I like to do, and then, make sure I don't see you making me replicate the behavior. That and get me drunk. Or I don't know, wasted on something, I guess. Must be boring to have dementia too, because you're like, you think that you've already done everything for the day, and over and over again, you're like, what the fuck is going on? Anyway, at this point, Joe Biden would be best served by being a private citizen. I think it's disgraceful that those around him aren't telling him to drop out. And I really mean that. And I'm not saying that because, oh, well, Biden's a threat to Trump. I think Biden would get absolutely hammered by Trump. At this point, because I think he's got dementia, I don't think Biden has any chance whatsoever of winning the general election. If he is by the skin of his teeth nominated, if the superdelegates don't stand in his way in a brokered convention designed to schlong him out of the nomination on the basis that he's got health issues, if they don't keep Biden out, and that'll cause a civil war within the party, by the way, if that happens, because it'll look undemocratic, and well, it is, Trump will destroy him. Because by the time the general election's over, at the rate he's in decline, it seems, over the course of the last year, we've seen him get worse. Over the course of the subsequent year, he's going to get even worse. He's not going to be capable. How is he going to debate Trump? He has enough problems at the debates now, and he did an okay job at the second debate, but nothing particularly great. And he gets confused, like when he's, and this is in friendly territory. When he's at a debate with a bunch of other Democrats, at least they're members of the same party, and by and large, they're reluctant to attack him because they're afraid of getting curb stomped by the DNC. When he's out on a campaign stop, he's talking to fans, like in New Hampshire with this bullshit story that's jumbled together like a chimera from multiple sources. Imagine he goes up against Trump, who you know is going to antagonize him. Trump's going to do everything he can to antagonize Biden. And by the way, to see Trump stalking around the stage, ranting, but ultimately being at least coherent, he's going to look great next to Biden, if that's the person he goes up against. The problem for the Democrats, of course, is I don't see anyone else in the field who can win. Elizabeth Warren is a known liar. She lied about her ethnicity for half a century. That's a no-go zone for a lot of Dem voters, I guarantee. Sanders is a socialist. There goes your Rust Belt. Buttigieg is not getting any traction, even though he is viable. I keep telling people, the Democrats are nuts for not trying to nominate Buttigieg. And then Kamala Harris has already peaked in decline. She's no longer particularly viable, and she rubs people the wrong way, and she's nuts. So, Biden is ironically pretty much the best you have as far as the viable candidates. You might as well try it. It will be interesting to see a geriatric, dementia-addled man attempting to take on Donald Trump, of all people. Again, if you had told someone 10 years ago that this would be happening, they would have laughed and they would have had a really great time thinking about the spectacle. But, an elderly Joe Biden with, one step from being a brain in a jar is going to square off against Donald Trump for the 2020 presidential bid. He's a good one. Yeah, there are so many more things that they would have believed. They would have believed that it would be like, Al Sharpton versus Oprah Winfrey or something before they would have believed this shit. The poor dude. But when you get to the point where you're jumbling three stories together, and you apparently believe, like he's not even trying to fool people, he actually believes that this happened. So he's gone back and he's revising his own past in his mind and actually has conned himself into believing this. That's not a good sign. His family should probably step in, or his friends, or something, and something should be done to prevent him from keeping running. At some point, you've got to fucking give it up. I understand that some of these people, like a third of the party, thinks Biden's the only one that can beat Trump. I am telling you that's not the case. Not that any of the other friends... What should happen is Biden drops out and endorses Buttigieg. That's the best case scenario for the Democrats right now. To endorse him. And then get him to take on Elizabeth Warren as someone older and more dynastic and career politician as running mate to appease the vagina voters. If they can accomplish that, they can probably win the election, but the odds are so remote of that happening. Now it'll probably be Biden as a nominee, or Warren, and maybe she'll take on Kamala Harris to have a strong, empowered woman double team or something like that. Absolutely asinine. That's about all. Peace out.